Hello again, Record Out here. Cheers. Today I'm drinking old style. When I was growing up, either you drank old style or you drank Budweiser, and my dad was an old style man, so I figured today I'll drink an old style in honor of him. Cheers, Dad. Well, today I'm celebrating the 50th anniversary of Darkside and the Moon. This record and I have been together my whole life. My parents bought this when it first came out, probably the day of, probably March 1st, 1973. And here is the inside. Here's the back. This is a first U.S. press. And the songs on this album are Speak to Me, Breathe, On the Run, Time, The Great Gig in the Sky, Money, which later they took the live footage. There used to be like live animation behind all these songs when they played, and the animation for Money they took and they made it in a video and put it on MTV in the 80s. Then they played, then the next song is Us and Them, Any Color You Like, Brain Damage, and Eclipse. So in 1973, March 7th, 1973, my parents were going to go see this concert at the International Amphitheater in Chicago. But my mom had a little problem. She's like, she wasn't thinking she'd be able to go. She had a chance to see Pink Floyd before, and she didn't go, and regretted it. She thought she was going to regret this concert because they didn't have a babysitter. And so my dad was like, just put some cotton in my ears, and we'll just go watch the show. We'll try to get as close to the stage as we try to. So they went to go see the show, and officially that's my first concert. 1973. Well, some of the things that came inside this record, I'll show you, is it came with some stickers, the original press, and 2 posters. I always dug this poster because my uncle had this hanging up. He took his out of his record. My parents kept theirs intact. But I always thought this was a really cool poster. I think they should just reissue it for people to own now. Not even with the record. You can just buy the poster. So if you want to hang it up on your wall. So it's Darkside of the Moon. And well, I want to talk about Darkside of the Moon a little bit. It was the longest running album on Billboard. It was on there for 962 weeks. And the second longest running, I think, was Metallica's Black Album, which was like 500 weeks. But yeah, 962 weeks. I remember when I was a kid, and it was on there for like 13 years. Then it fell off, and for like a week or two, and then it was right back up on Billboard and stayed there for like another year and a half. Well, now I want to try to get into more of get into my collection and kind of chronological order, except for a couple of compilations, which I'm just going to keep them kind of in the order of because when Sid Barrett and stuff was in the band, so I just start with that. So this is the first press of At the Piper's Gate at the Gates of Dawn. It's the first album. First press, first release, like UK press. 1967. Then I got this record here. This is Relics. It came out in 71, but it's a compilation of stuff that Syd Barrett did. Arnold Lane's on here. See Emily Play. Remember the day. See, just Julia's Dream. Careful with that axe, Eugene. Just good stuff from like the Syd Barrett era. And then this next record I'm going to show you is compilation. I think this came out in 71. One of these were my parents', one's mine. I think this one is my copy. And no, this had to be my parents' copy. So I have to cover up some of the naughty parts, but this is a nice pair. I'm covering up the nice pair. It's a nice pair. And there's another nudie down here I got to cover up. And this is just a compilation. The first record's the first album. The second record is Saucerful of Secrets, which I never own. I don't even remember them even owning it because they had this nice pair record. Here's another one. It has a hyper sticker on it. So covering one, and then the other picture right here. Show the inside on this one. Here's Umaguma, or Umaguma, however you want to pronounce it. The first side of this album was live in 1969. And then the second side was a studio album. But I can remember it like being, there's a lot of instrumental stuff on this. But there was a really cool, weird song on this album. I always got a kick out of it when I was a little kid. Show you the inside of that. So, it's called Several Species of Small Furry Animals Gathered Together in a Cave, Grooving on a Pick. And basically it's like a bunch of weird like animal sounds and like a shaman or witch doctor speaking in some weird dialect. It's pretty cool. Weird song, but pretty awesome. This is my parents' copy. It's on Harvest. I have my own copy too. I bought years later. It's the second press, or maybe third. It's from 1969. Okay, then I had this Zembranski's Point compilation, or compilation soundtrack, and it has Pink Floyd on here. There's like 3 Pink Floyd songs on this record. It has Heartbeat, Pig Meat. Where's the other Pink Floyd song? Crumbling Land, and Coming in Numbers, Your Time. And the other bands are on here. There's Kaleidoscope, some Grateful Dead, Patti Page, Youngbloods, Jerry Garcia solo. Yeah, is it John Fogerty? No. And it's okay. It's okay. Not a great album, but it's okay. I'm missing More. I don't have the More soundtrack, and I'm also missing Adam Hart Mother. When I was a kid, my dad had that on 8-track. I remember that being a very mellow album. Okay, here's Metal. I think this is probably the first album they had, my parents. This is my parents' record. This one I want to tell you some names of some of the songs, but it's really tiny. I got to hit a light on this. So, let's see. One of These Days. Now, I loved that song when I was a kid, man. One of these days, I'll chop you up in little pieces. Okay, Pillows of the Wind. Echoes. This is the record that first gives, this is the first, like, sound of how Pink Floyd's going to be. This is like a prototype to like, at least the song Echoes, prototype to like what Pink Floyd is about to become with, you know, Darkside of the Moon and, you know, just in that direction. Parents' record. Mine were both first presses. I just wanted a really nice clean copy. I don't really play my parents' records anymore. They're really beat up, and I just keep them because my parents are gone and they're sentimental to me. So here's Obscured by Clouds. This is my parents too, and they kept this one in really good shape. Let me see what's on this one. This is from 1972, and Obscured by Clouds, Burning Bridges, Free 4, Stay, some good stuff on here. Childhood's End. It's a little bit of a mellow album. The early stuff was a mix of like more their mellow Pink Floyd, like instrumentals and stuff, because they were trying to find their footing, like what they're going to sound like after Syd Barrett left. That and the Syd Barrett stuff was kind of like Englishy pop music of the time, but trippy a little bit. And then this is where they're experiencing trying to find what they're going to become. So, well, I showed you the Dark Side of the Moon, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this copy. This is from South American copy. And it's all the title of the album, and the titles are all in Spanish. I talked about this more in a different video. Check that out. It's from 1974 pressing. This is a 1978 picture disc. Picture disc I don't think I've ever played. It basically looks brand new. Have this Masters of Rock comp, Volume 1. This is more Syd Barrett stuff, Arnold Lane, Candy and the Currant Bun, The Scarecrow, Apples and Oranges, and Paintbox, Julia's Dreams, The Emily's Play. That's a few of the songs that are on this album. Okay, then I got this as my parents' copy of Wish You Were Here. First press on Harvest. Very, very beat up first press. They have seen many days. And then my parents' record, which they replaced at some point. Much better condition. But the album cover is still a little beat up. And then I replaced that myself. And this is one I listened to. And the album cover's in very good condition. The album cover's in pretty good condition, except for a little bit of wear. And I guess it happens with all these Wish You Were Here's because they all look like that. And it has the cool insert, hard cardboard insert. Okay. Now I got this copy of Animals. This is in very good shape. My parents also saw them on Wish You Were Here, 75, and then they also saw them on Animals, 77. Oh, the songs that you want to hear off Wish You Were Here, and it's basically there's different versions. It's Wish You Were Here, Have a Cigar, and Shine On Your Crazy Diamond. Now, Animals, the songs on here is Pigs on the Wing, Dogs, Pigs, Sheep, and Pigs on the Wing Part 2. Very good album. It's probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. The 4 albums are iconic. My favorite album by Pink Floyd would definitely be Dark Side of the Moon. When I was younger, I would say The Wall. And then Wish You Were Here, then Animals. But I think these days, it's Dark Side, Animals, The Wall, and Wish You Were Here. Oh, mentioning about Wish You Were Here. When I was a kid, 1991, we were doing a cover, my band Spare Change was doing a cover of Wish You Were Here. Unfortunately, none of the tapes exist, and we did like a punk cover, and we're all like, played a little soft part in the beginning, and then we kicked in like yelling the lyrics. The three of us were like, so you think you can't tell, have it from hell. It's a cool cover. I miss doing that. So, well, getting back to this, 1977, my parents went to see them again, but they saw them at. My mom always talked about this was like the greatest concert she ever seen, and because they played at the Milwaukee County Stadium, and she said that they came out, or my dad, they bootlegged it. They had a cassette, and the first side is just kind of like they did like a greatest hits type thing off of like the few albums, and then they came off for the second intermission, and they did all of Darkside of the Moon. So that was like, so they were so overwhelmed about how great that was, and made me happy, when I think about that. So. Here's bought my own copy back in 1988. I don't know if you can see that at Cruising Music, because I wanted to own my own copy when I was a kid. Now, The Wall. Pink Floyd, The Wall. This was a huge album for them. Came out in 1979. Songs on this. Let me see if we can even see them. Songs on this, I actually have to look at the records themselves. But, everybody knows the songs on this, but I could just get into a few of them. Like the big ones, In the Flesh. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 is the big one that, and they took that clip from the movie and made a video out of that. Goodbye Blue Sky. Run Like Hell was big. They're just big songs. The Worm. When I was a kid, I really liked The Trial. That's the coolest part of the movie too, because I was a kid. That happened in 1979 was this came out. 1982. Get to 1982. Or it was 81. We got 81. 81, the final cut. Richard Wright was gone by this time. I think that him and Roger Waters got into it, and he was no longer in the band. And the songs on this record is Post-War Dream, Your Possible Past, One of the Few, Hero's Return, Gunner's Dream, Paranoid Eyes, Get Your Filthy Hands Off My Dessert, Fletcher's Memorial Home, Southampton Docks, The Final Cut, Not Now John, Two Suns in the Sky. I remember Not Now John. I think that was the hit. I was pretty sure. I was hearing that on the radio, and that was pretty good. And there's one or two more songs that were really good. I can't remember. Every once in a while I throw this album on, and it just don't really stick to me too well. And then I have a collection of great dance hits or dance songs. This is like the greatest hits album. Let's see what's on here. One of These Days, Money, Sheep, Shine on Your Crazy Diamond, Wish You Were Here, and Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Very good compilation here. When that came out. Okay, so now we came out in 1981. Now it's 1982. I'm going to show you the 7-inch here. This is the 7-inch of Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, and One of My Turns. The B-side, I'm only showing you that because I don't have the movie. I had the movie at one point in my life. Actually, I had it twice. I had it on VHS at one point and once on DVD, but gone. can't find it nowhere. So, when I was a kid, my uncle took me to go see The Wall. My parents already went, and I really wanted to see it, and he had nobody to go with, so he took me. I was 10 years old, and I was pretty impressed. Bob Geldof did a great job as Pink, and just good memories. You know, I had two uncles that were really into rock. My one uncle was in a band, but my other uncle was a record collector, huge record collector, and he's the one who took me to see The Wall. And then in 1983, Pink Floyd broke up in right after Final Cut. And then 83, Works came out, and everybody thought there was going to be a new Pink Floyd album. Everybody thought this was a new record, but no, it was a compilation. And One of These Days, Arnold Lane, Fearless, Brain Damage, Eclipse, Set the Controls for Your Heart and Sun, See Emily Play, Several Species of Small Furry Animals, you know, Free For an Embryo, weird compilation for not what people expected for Pink Floyd, but there you just put out the collection of great dance songs, so this is kind of like the B part of that. Okay, so like I said, when I was growing up, my whole life, my parents had always listened to Pink Floyd. I mean, it was religiously, like, almost on a daily basis, I'd hear The Wall, Darkside of the Moon, Animals, and Wish You Were Here. Those were the iconic records that my dad always listened to. He also liked Hendrix a lot, and Janis Joplin. My mom, on the other side, she loved Pink Floyd, but she liked Led Zeppelin a lot, and she was also a big Bowie fan, and the Rolling Stones was her favorite band. So when I graduated from high school, that they really wanted to take me to something special. So they got me tickets for Pink Floyd in 1987 when they got back together, and we got tickets to go to see them September 30th in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee County Stadium. Just needed to see a big show. This was like a huge deal. This came out. These tickets went on sale first, but then like a couple weeks later, they decided to have tickets for Rosemont Horizon, and it was a couple days before. My uncle bought tickets, and so we bought tickets for us. My uncle, who was in the band, bought tickets for my mom and dad and me, and him, and so we went to that together, and then we went with my other uncle to Milwaukee. So I got to see both shows. So they were both different experiences. So the one in Chicago, it was cool, but it was smaller, and they flew an airplane over, which they couldn't have done like in this giant field. They flew an airplane over the top of us. But the pigs, when they floated the pigs, that I don't remember them floating the pig at Rosemont Horizon, but they floated outside at Milwaukee County Stadium. So that was really cool. And that was on the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour. I really like this record. I don't like it as much as anything before it, but Sign of Life, Learning to Fly, that was a great song. Dogs of War, I really like that song. One Slipped, I really like that song. On the Turning Away, I really like that. Let's see, Yet Another Move, Round and Round, The New Machine, Terminal Frost, New Machine Part 2, and Sorrow. So the first side is very strong on this album. The second side, it's okay. Division Bell. I saw the Division Bell tour too. You know, my mom and my brother and sister went because she wanted to take them to see Pink Floyd, and that was July 12th, 1994 at Soldier Field. That was the first time I ever experienced going to a concert where it cost a real lot of money at the time. I think we paid well over $100 for each ticket, and that was a lot of money then. Way more, less than $200, probably like $130 each ticket, but they were expensive at the time. And so mostly we were sitting with like kind of richy people, people who had a little bit of money and stuff. So that was the first experience I ever had where I went to a concert, and by this time I've gone to lots and lots of concerts. By '94, at least a couple hundred, at least 100. I know more, between 100 and 200 concerts I was already at, and that's the first time I ever had people yelling to me to sit down during a show, and I was just overwhelmed. I'm like, I was like, you're at a concert. What do you mean sit down? You're supposed to be standing up. You stand up for the band, and sit down. They'd only stand up when they played the hits. When they played like Money or The Wall or Wish You Were Here, it's like it was such an irritating thing to me. But that was my first experience with that. As I got older, I started to realize, I still stand up for concerts, but as I got older, I realized that older people, at least then, like they're 30 now, so they're too tired to stand up through the whole concert. But that's the issue I had with the division bell, which put a little bit of a damper on me for that. That was my first experience with that. Well, I don't have the division bell on vinyl, so I can't show that. And actually, I don't even think I have it on CD anymore. I got rid of the CDs. But I did want to mention one more thing about this Dark Side of the Moon. Now that I'm talking about CDs. The first CD I ever owned was Dark Side of the Moon, and David Bowie's Change One. In 1987, I was working for my school. I was in 8th grade, working for my school, doing like an after-school program, and I saved money up to buy a CD player. My dad worked at Sears and in the stereo department, so he would be able to like just get a little dry here. Talking about my dad, he wanted me to have a drink of that. So he was working in Sears in the stereo department, and I bought a Magnavox boombox, and like the front is how it loaded. It didn't load on the top. It was a side loader, and it was very expensive. I think I paid like $350 for it. And so he sampled it with Pink Floyd and David Bowie. And after I got home, he came back and he gave me the CDs because they're allowed to open up CDs to sample them. So those are my first 2 CDs. Well, that was about to be the end of my vinyl for Pink Floyd, but I have a few more things I could show you real quick. This is Syd Barrett, The Madcapper Laughs. Figured I'd show you a few of the solo albums I have. I don't have too many of them, so I can't remember what year this is from. Can't remember what year this is from. It apparently is not right on there. Here's Roger Waters. With Radio Chaos. Doesn't have anything on the on the record itself. So, okay, David Gilmour. It's his first album. This came out while they were doing Animals, so it's like came out after Animals, but he recorded this while they were recording Animals. I think it's just self-titled. It's from 1978 or 77. 78 came out after Animals, and a couple of the songs, it actually sound like Animals. Like it's a good companion to Animals. I can't remember what song it was. A couple of them sounded like it, but there's a song on here called "There's No Way Out of Here," "Cries from the Street," "So Far Away," "Short and Sweet," "Raise the Rent," "No Way Out." Just, I don't know. It was good. It was good. A good album. This one wasn't that good. It was okay. About face. Until We Sleep, Murder, Love on the Air, Blue Light, Out of the Blue, All Over His Dreams, Cruising. Like this record here is from the 80s, and it definitely sounds like it's from the 80s, and that's probably what's wrong with this record. So it's not a great album because it has a very 80s sound. For the first one, very good. Well, that's the end of my Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. Happy 50 years together. We grew up together. I miss my parents. We had mom, dad. Thank you for introducing me to Pink Floyd, and this record will be with me for the rest of my life. Cheers from Record Hunter. Catch you on the next video when the hunt is on.